How's it going, guys and girls? This is Ketchup and Mustard here, once again coming at you with a rather personal video, I think we'll call it. We have Season 2 for the ESL MKX Pro League literally on the horizon. It starts this weekend. Season 1, Sonic Fox won $60,000 in a day through the Season 1 finals of MKX. And with Season 2, obviously has been announced that there is another $100,000 to play for in a collective prize pot for the Season 2 finals. So, consider this video pretty much almost like podcast style. There's not going to be any video or anything, so if you guys want to, go about your business and just have this video on in the background, that's totally fine, no problem. But what this is going to be is we really want to kind of talk about almost like a recap of Season 1, but more importantly, focus on sort of behind the scenes what it actually did for the international competition and how many doors it opened for those guys and even us.
Well, it's basically going to be a lot of our personal opinions on what it does for the scene, certainly what it did for the international community, because you guys will understand we had a large stake in things that happened for international players, and we're kind of always there making sure that players were able to do what they could through ESL and the opportunities that are open for them. Obviously, the first of that being just the opportunity to compete weekly for $1,000. That alone, with online tournaments, was something that we hadn't really seen before in the NRS community. I know that there have been a lot of community-driven online events every now and then, but nothing really quite on this scale, especially with that financial backing. So that in itself was new, giving players the opportunity to, from home as well, this was, players were able to sit from their bedrooms and play for quite a large amount of money every week for 8 weeks. Not to mention the mid-season showdown was a one-off opportunity to go to LA.
More money to pay for that week
exactly as well. Not to mention viewers had chances to win stuff through the voting, through the predictions, and all that crazy cool stuff, which again we hadn't really seen before. But that's just keep in mind, guys, this video is purely our opinions. This is just what we think of everything.
It's really a personal recap, no doubt about it. It's a personal recap from us, from the both of us. But I think we'll kick things off with the Season 1 finals, really. I mean, the build-up was fantastic, the money was good, and the opportunities to really sort of see some of these players come out of the woodwork. But I think where this video comes into it for us is the Season 1 finals, where obviously those that had qualified were sent to LA. They were sent to Los Angeles. No matter where you were in the world, you were sent. You didn't go out of your own pocket. ESL sent you. So this was almost, in essence, almost like an all expenses paid trip in terms of, you didn't have to pay for much while you were out there. But that's part of it, really. But the important thing was pretty much those 2 weeks that we spent in LA, all of us, me, Mustard here, Foxy, Madsen, Nivek, Cheap Eddie, there were other internationals as well, but from ESL side, it was us lot that all went together. The 2 weeks we spent from the Season 1 finals and then going to EVO. We all know EVO, I know EVO was, it's history now, it really is history now. And people can say what they like about, whether it still holds up validity. Of course it does, in my opinion. But the only reason it was so ridiculously international was because of the ESL Season 1 finals. ESL were, basically they were all kind enough to understand that many of us that had gone would really want to kind of relish the chance to go to Vegas the next week and then compete there.
That's something worth pointing out, is the ESL Season 1 finals took place exactly a week before EVO.
Perfect timing.
So with that in mind, ESL, they took that on board, realised that everyone there's a competitor. We were there as commentators, but we're players, we're competitors. And they realised that, obviously these players are going to want to try and make the most of this opportunity to go to Vegas. So, instead of us having to, go back and then book another flight back to Vegas again from the UK, ESL took that on board and just simply booked our flights back home a week later than originally planned. So all we had to really do was cover the cost of Burbank to Vegas, Vegas to Burbank, and then obviously the week's hotel in Vegas, which wasn't that expensive, split between about 5 or 6 people.
Bear in mind, guys, I think the reason this was a big deal for us was how much cheaper it was, and that's one of the reasons we were all able to do this. From the UK, an EVO trip will pretty much set you back around
£2,000.
£1,000 to £2,000. The middle ground is normally about £1,500. It's very, very expensive. That is why, we have so many people saying to us, why don't we get more international players going to American tournaments?
It's the money. It's the
Why
cost.
didn't you go to this major? Why didn't you go to that major? It's purely because of the money. It's a very, very expensive thing to go without a sponsor.
Well, keep in mind, EVO for 3 years in a row has fallen in the middle of July, smack bang in the middle of holiday season. It is, one of the most expensive months of
Vegas
the year.
for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's one of the most expensive months of the year to travel, especially to places like Las Vegas, which are popular holiday destinations. So unless you book like significantly in advance, it is going to be expensive. Because a lot of players don't even realize they want to attend Evo, or know of Evo, or know if they can make it money-wise until
they have the money.
Until they physically have the money to book it, which might not necessarily be like 6-7 months in advance.
If you're a fighting game player, unless you've got a full-time job that can really do that, you're not really going to have £2,000 of dispendable income just to go. I'm just going to go and book it straight away. But that was the important thing about ESL Season 1 Finals. ESL knew that. They simply booked our return flight from LA the week after Evo had finished. They understood that many of us wanted to go, and that was that. The only thing we were responsible for was paying for our flight from LA to Vegas and then back there, which was significantly cheaper.
Keep in mind, effectively, Season 1 Finals made Evo what it was. And what it was tremendously diverse in terms of characters, participant, nationality, teams, all that good stuff. All because of in my opinion, the international presence. Keep in mind, guys, international players were significantly outnumbered at Evo in true.
We always are, really.
In true fashion. That tournament had close to 1,200 entrants. There couldn't have been more than 20 or 30.
I think 30
I think
max.
30 tops international participants.
Internationally,
in a tournament of near enough 1,200.
Internationally, we had there was variety there. There was about 10 of us in total from the UK.
It was UK. We had Japan.
We had Japan. The Japanese players, with the Chile guys, who were all really good. They caused a lot of upsets in that tournament too. People that I was preparing for, and I was grinding the matchups of the characters because I saw them in my path and went, "There's no way this dude's not going to be in my path." Like Xenomorph, I had Wonder Chef,
Tyrant.
I had people like that, and I was like, I need to prepare for these matchups.
And the Chile guys beat them all.
And then the Chile guys beat them. So I'm like, Jesus, all right. You know what I mean? And I had to last minute prepare for them. But those guys, they were serious. They came and they played good characters like Tanya, they played Bone Chipper, Shinnok. It was Pyromancer Tanya I fought as well. The Japanese guys were there. We had Australian guys as well. We had even the UK player. We had Hugo as a UK player we had, who I didn't even know was going. But I just saw him. We were at the MGM suite, and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's English. And I was like, hi, did you come from England? He's like, yes. I'm like, Jesus, what? Hello, we're from England as well. And that was it, really. It was really sick. But basically, long story short, the only reason Evo was as almost memorable as it was in terms of international competition was because of the fact that we could do it. None of us would have been able to do it.
No Foxy, no Yumi, no Cheap Eddie, no Maxim,
we wouldn't
no
have
Nivek.
None of us would have been able to. We wouldn't have had the money at all. We would not have been able to make that tournament. And it was Americans as well, like people like Big D.
Well, I think Foxy probably could have, considering he just won the Combat Cup.
I think he would have gone.
We won't talk about that.
But we certainly wouldn't have been able to go. It would have been too expensive.
Well, it's like you're about to say, even Big D, even some American players don't get the opportunity to travel too much. It was a great opportunity for him, and Big D, he did well in ESL. He upset with defeating Nivek, and then made 9th at Evo. One game away from top 8.
One game away.
The only guy before top 8 to take a game off Foxy Grandpa, might I add, as well.
Yeah.
At Evo, like that in itself was really, really quite something.
Definitely. But that's pretty much that, guys. In terms of season 1, I think we don't want to go on too long, but I think we just want we want this to be quite personal. I want you guys to know what we feel about how everything happened and how it all went down. Because I'm always going to be, I think Evo is always going to be. This is Ketchup talking, by the way, obviously, for those that may not know.
I should hope so, or this could be quite awkward.
But Evo is definitely the biggest accomplishment I've had so far in competitive fighting games, and it's something I didn't plan on happening. I didn't expect it.
I think you could argue it would be one of the biggest MK tournaments in history with the sheer amount of entrants. I don't think that's ever been topped.
But I never expected that to happen. I knew I was good enough to get top 8, but because the reality is I'm a commentator. I am a commentator primarily. If I can compete, that's brilliant. I love competing, and I never will not like competing. I adore it. I love doing it.
Well, we're happy to do it. We're happy to commentate over competing. It's just that was our opportunity to do it on the big stage.
But we
did well.
both had the chance to. I know you got unlucky versus Calf, but you still did really well.
Shit happens, man.
But absolutely so close. 1 round away from top 32. Nivek getting top 24. Madsen getting top 17. Foxy and myself getting top 8. Cheap Eddie getting top 32 as well by beating Calf, getting revenge for you.
Immediately, no, that was quite.
Shout outs to Cheap Eddie's pop off, the greatest, the greatest I've ever seen. But But basically, that's that. Like, the only reason that life-changing experience for me, just I'll never experience something like that again. Even if I'll who knows? Maybe I'll never make an Evo stage again. But like, what it felt like to be on that stage, and to be in this situation where there's thousands of people watching, and the speakers are so loud that when you sit on this chair to play, one button that you press causes your seat to shake. You shake. The whole room shakes because you're so close to these like global speakers, and you land one hit and the audience gets hyped and you can hear it through the headphones. These noise cancelling, really loud headphones, and you can hear everything.
Cancelling the noise of thousands of excited FGC members.
That's an experience that I don't think anyone that made that top 8 will ever forget, and it's only because I will always appreciate ESL giving me the opportunity to go there, because I wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for season 1.
No, if that wouldn't have happened, and that's just the way it is. But even then, back in season 1, we had fans' choice.
We did indeed.
Which
that was Foxy's first chance to show himself.
For International MK was a terrific opportunity to showcase at what the time we could do. Because back at MK9 and Injustice, Europe was slept on, and I'm going to go as far to say looked down upon. Because for any of you guys that weren't aware, back in 2012 we went to Evo for MK9. Without going into too much detail, there was an accident while we were there which caused us to basically not have the chance to play MK really until tournaments had started, until the 4v4 started, and we didn't do very well that year.
There's no beating around the bush. I horrendously underperformed.
Ketchup and Use for Glue didn't manage to make it out of pools, unfortunately.
No, I didn't even make it out of my pool.
I got top 32, but then lost to GGA Waffles, who's probably the best smoke player there is in MK9, and then Foxy managed to make top 16 with his concussion bandage around his head. Not
before eliminating Rio, who was the one to beat.
Exactly. But in general, the UK, there was only 4 of us, but we didn't really, reach the point in what we wanted to really. We didn't achieve as much as we wanted to, considering we were there. But even then, that we had community support back then, because Foxy and Use for Glue were only there because community donations got them there, and that was absolutely wonderful.
The MK community had raised close to $3,000. Just the Mortal Kombat community had raised close to $3,000 just to send Use for Glue and Foxy.
Yeah. So even though it really did suck that the accident that happened there happened, we still had a good time. But when it came down to competition, we didn't really do so good.
No.
But after 3 years of having that basically held over our heads, as you guys went to Evo, you got bodied, Europe's behind US, and we had to hear that for about 3 years, right? For about 3 years non-stop. Whenever any form of competition would get brought up, or even sometimes opinions, I know trolls will be trolls, but we basically had that stamped on us for 3 solid years, through Injustice's entire lifetime.
Even throughout Injustice, I was hearing about my performance at Evo in Mortal Kombat throughout the entire
so even in a new game, you've got to hold that, there's nothing you really do about it, because even though there were reasons you didn't play your best, at the end of the day, you still didn't do well, and that's what you have to hold. And then in comes Evo this year, and international competition's looking pretty damn good, to be honest. Obviously, we've had Foxy win SCR, that was great for International MK. Fans' Choice was great for International MK. Well, at least you guys make a top 8. Madzin beating Foxy makes it makes especially good. European MK look really tidy right now, really tidy.
Definitely, I agree. But it's we didn't want to sort of waffle on, as it were, but this, like I said, I think we're going to treat this video like a podcast.
Oh, yeah, it's just like a little personal talk between the two of us, between you guys watching, and just so you guys can get a bit more insight as to what's kind of going through our heads really, as all these crazy tournaments and opportunities are coming up.
We never really had a video where we sat down and talked about that experience. So we've talked about it now and then on stream, but never, we have a lot of followers, a lot of you guys that support us on YouTube that may not catch the stream. You don't hear us. You don't get to hear us talk about this kind of stuff. But that's season 1.
We're moving into season 2 this weekend. The 1st of November is week 1 of season 2.
We're going to be commentating again.
So we're going back to Poland.
This will not. We are indeed. We're going to be living in Poland again. This is not going to be a tournament series we will be entering in, so you won't see us playing it, but you will see us commentate every single week.
Yeah, expect business as usual from us in terms of commentary week after week, giving you guys our best. Absolutely loving it, absolutely enjoying it, and Dorian watching some good high level European MK, and we'll probably be staying up until 4 in the morning to watch the US side as well, as usual.
Sonic Fox beat Perfect Legend in week 1 pre-season. Foxy beat Storm. in the European side of the preseason. And this past weekend, which has happened, Pro Stunner actually. That Pro Stunner.
Absolutely terrific Reptile player.
He's a good player in general. I thought many of his characters.
But he's an online player, you know, through and through. And he didn't enter Season 1.
Pro Stunner, an online player. You would have seen him on our stream now and then. Very, very good player. We have told him time and time again, enter ESL, I'm sure you'll do well. He entered pre-season number 2, got grand finals. Foxy won again, but he got grand finals.
$300, thank you, in your pocket, just like that.
Exactly. And with season 2 of North America, Scar got grand finals, and he beat Blind Ducky. Top 3 was Scar, number 1, best Sonya player, hands down. Blind Ducky, really, really good Devourer, very good. And Pick of the Hut.
Pick of the Hut got
still
third?
Using Kenshi.
Sweet.
Kenshi and Reptile, but mainly Kenshi. Pick of the Hut had to get through 4 Quan Chis to get third.
Wow.
4 Quan Chis.
Those 464s, 473s, whatever you'd call it.
And he did it, you know, and it's, we're going into the actual season this weekend, okay? The actual season's going to start. There's another $100,000 to play for by the end of this. And the point of this video, guys, before we close this out, is if you have the chance to enter ESL, do it. It's free. It is of no cost to yourself other than your time, which you would probably spend playing Mortal Kombat anyway if you're taking it seriously. So, if you get the chance to do ESL, please, from Mustard and myself, enter it, because you just don't know what will happen from it. You don't know what can spawn from it. ESL opened up so many doors for the international players and the American players.
Well, that's what I'd like to really point out.
Those experiences, we who knows? Maybe we can say in 4 months' time that we shared these future experiences with you just because you had the chance to enter. You know, you shared these moments with us, and then they will become your moments.
Exactly, because I want you guys to take from this video, you know, some of you might be watching thinking, yeah, well, what, you know, you're kind of just telling us about, you know, what you guys have done. How does this affect us? You know, how is this going to affect our participation? It's not what we've done. We're not saying, you know, what's happened through season 1 is going to happen again. We're not going to say it's going to be the exact same thing, you know, rinse and repeated. It's just these players seized the opportunity. You know, they saw the opportunity to enter these tournaments, to do well in them. And just look at what's happened. Some of them are sponsored now through their success in ESL alone, not even, you know, taking into account their offline records before or even after it. They've won a tremendous amount of money. They've got experiences they're going to remember for the rest of their lives, especially the rest of their competitive careers. And who knows, you know, if this is more successful, I'd like to see it expand. I'd like to see more come from it.
But I'd love to see a season 3.
But you know, but surely the only way you will see that, and again, this is just a personal, you know, opinion from us, is growth. You know, you guys make season 2 bigger than season 1. Get those numbers up there, because we already know that EU season 2, we're expecting great things from players alone. We know that, you know, season 1. There is no getting around it. Foxy Grandpa did kind of dominate every week he took part in. Mitsu Owens, huge shout outs to him once again for winning the other weeks, but season 1 of ESL had basically 2 winners, right? We had Mitsu Owens and we had Foxy Grandpa. This season, we have Undead Jim entering. Undead Jim beats Foxy more than I've seen Foxy beat Jim, right? Online especially. We've got Zarakamaka, goes 50-50 with basically every top level player I've seen him play. Again, that could cause major upsets. Storm, the best Takeda in the world in my opinion, is entering again with his Takeda. He's used to online, he plays it all the time. It's going to be no hindrance to him. We've got Taco coming back, we've got Madsen coming back, we've got
Madsen was the player. In our 2 weeks in America, Madsen leveled up like I've never seen.
But now he's got the best Blood God around, you know. We might see Blood God Kotal Khan take some ESL games. And I would love nothing more than to watch Madsen play Blood God Kotal Khan on ESL where it matters. Because he spent the entirety of Season 1 saying, this character is garbage, but I love him, so I'm playing him casually, but I'll never play him competitively.
Picks him at EVO.
But Blood God got him through EVO!
He beat Big Boy
the
in
only
top
reason,
17.
That's it, the only reason he beat Big Boy was because Big Boy was using, I believe it was Buzzsaw, Lao.
It was Tempest first, then he changed.
Yeah, Tempest.
Oh no, it was the other way around. Buzzsaw first, then he changed.
Yeah, it was Big Boy beat Madsen sub with Buzzsaw Lao. Yeah,
and
it
then
was.
he beat Buzzsaw with Blood God, and then Big Boy changed to Tempest, and Madsen won the set, and got hype, as he always does. But, to prevent this video from getting too long...
But you know, you guys could be the players we talk about next time, you know?
Well, I'm more than sure of it. Like we've just said, Pro Stunner, really good online player, entered pre-season number 2, got grand finals. Like, if you're really good,
$300, there you go.
Do it.
Just like that.
Literally just do it. But that's basically what we try and want to convey here, guys. Thank you very much for listening. I think we will call it there. It's a big deal for us that ESL Season 2 is happening. You know, not even as competitive, you know, not even sort of career-wise and how we were able to commentate for longer, because we both adore commentating, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
But just as a Mortal Kombat player that has been with the game since the beginning, seeing the game grow the way it is, and seeing the support, not even with ESL, we have the pop bonuses as well.
And the amount of new players, it's always causing new blood, new members of like top 8s are seeing new people, new characters, new variations.
All the time.
Every time.
But it's growing, and hopefully you guys can grow with it. You know, like I said, we'll share these experiences with you in a few months' time, who knows. But thank you very much for listening. We are going to call it there. Please let us know what you think of this video. We could always do, I mean, I guess we'll consider this a little bit of a podcast, really. But if you guys want this more, we can happily do that. We can happily talk to more guys. There is actually a UK NetherRealm series podcast.
Her Majesty's Council, from
Her Majesty's Council from JTB. You know, he does it with Gab Standard, Phosphorax, Undead Jim's on that quite a lot as well. You want to go check those guys out if you want to listen to some more MK talk on pretty much a weekly basis. But please let us know what you think of this, and we'll probably try and do more. That's it, really. We're going to have more videos in the pipeline, more Mortal Kombat.
Most likely when you guys next hear from us live is going to be week 1 of Season 2.
Yeah. There's not going to be a whole lot of content from us the first week or so, because basically it's just living conditions. We would have moved to Poland, so it's going to be hard for us to do constant videos in the first week.
We're going to have to get set up for a few days first.
But yeah, we'll need to set up first. And that's it. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time. Take care.